Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on Ravenport. We are going to carry straight on from where we left off in the last episode, so let's get to it. I've worked on machines, I've driven tractors when you're working in great big fields, and honestly, it's amazing what you do to try and mitigate some of the boredom that you experience as you go across these big fields. Like this, it's always like driving a combine, and imagine driving a cotton harvester as well. It's considerably more entertaining than just sat driving a tractor doing something like cultivating a field. If you're cultivating a huge field, it is so dull. Right, it's interesting driving around the outside edge of the field the first few times, just get everything sorted out like that. Or if you've got a really rough field that you've got to cultivate down, that can be a bit more of a challenge, it's a bit more interesting. But generally, cultivating a field is dull as ditch water. It is so boring. It really is. It's unbelievably boring. Like, honestly, it's a major snooze fest as you're going up and down the field. And so you'll see, like, something in the distance that looks slightly different to the rest of the field. Maybe a single weed has come up through. And this is the highlight of your hour, is traveling up and down the field a couple times, getting close to the weed, and then watching that weed go. And you hope that your tractor tyres aren't going to do it. And if your tractor tyres do, you deliberately weave round it so they don't touch the weed, and you can watch that weed get dragged under the cultivator. And that's the highlight of your whole hour, right? Yeah, that's one. Like, tractor driving is both a really exhilarating and really interesting, fun, awesome, fantastic activity to do, and at the same time is one of the most dull experiences you will ever have. It does depend a bit on what you're doing and where you're doing it, but there's always bits of tractor driving where you're so bored with the whole thing. The whole experience. You got the radio on, you got the music on, you're doing whatever you can to try and alleviate the boredom a little bit, but you still end up watching a weed or an unusual shaped stone, and then just keep an eye on it and watch it go under the cultivator, because it's literally the most exciting thing that's happened to you in that hour. That's what driving a tractor is all about. That's all part and parcel of the whole tractor gig. Now I'm going to come back down here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to let that one come through, because we want to do one more pass. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to drive over to the other side, because I've done everything I want to do up this top end. There's a couple of little bits here that we just want to grab and make sure that we've got right. And then I'll turn around and I'll come and take another slice off the top up here. I think we should be all right with that then, because there's the odd tree up here. So I just want to sweep down through here and just make sure that we're definitely avoiding anything resembling trees. And then there's a little tiny bit that's been left over the other side over there, so we'll pick those up and then we'll come back through. Driving a combine, I only drove a combine properly for one season. I didn't even get to do it for the full season. It was more like I'd say probably full time about half the season. The other half of the season I was still driving. I was driving on the grain cart, and grain cart is never the most exciting jobs. It sort of depends where you're going and what the tracks are like getting to the field. If you've got a really rough track and you've got a little bit of more skilled driving while you're going along the track, that can be entertaining. Or if there's a really nice view as you're going along the track, that's pretty good. But yeah, it can be a bit slow and tedious doing the grain cart. And then you've got like actually driving the combine itself. And even in the really big, some really big fields, it does start to get a little bit monotonous, I suppose, but not very much. Like, there's enough going on with the combine, and it's that I always found that particular job to be quite interesting. So I never personally got very bored with it. Whereas tractor driving, I love driving tractors. I really do. I genuinely, it's a thing that I really do love to do. I cannot emphasize that enough. Right? It's awesome driving tractors. It's not something I want to do for a living anymore, partly because it just doesn't pay very well, and also because just about any job you get driving a tractor for a living requires some obscenely long hours, which I don't want to do, because it means that I'd have to be away from my family. And that's why I ultimately stepped away from doing it in the first place. it's an awesome job to do. Just operating machinery, I love operating machinery. I really do. I cannot emphasize that enough. But at the same time, it's probably one of the most mundane, dull, dreary, and boring jobs I've ever done. Like, ever. And I've done some pretty dull, dreary jobs. So there's like some parts of it you think, yep, this is absolutely brilliant, and you'll experience both of those things in the same day. Like you cultivate. If you've got several fields to cultivate, getting to the end of the field, that's always good. It's a nice sense of accomplishment when you finally finish a field, especially if it's big fields. You finish that bit up, and then you fold up. And I always liked machinery where I had to get out of the tractor and put pins and stuff in order to fold everything up properly. Just because it's a chance to stretch your legs, walk around a bit, and a little bit of exercise while you're doing it, because otherwise you're stuck in the cab all day. And I just really like that. That was just me though. And then you move on to the next field, and especially if you've got a big piece of kit, I always enjoyed the move from one field to another. If you've got big wide roads, big wide tracks on the farm and everything, then it's easy. You fold up and you whiz off down the road and you're straight into the next field. If you've got a lot of small windy tracks, fields that are far apart from each other, and you've got to traverse sometimes out onto public roads and things like that, and lots of small gateways, I used to love doing that. That was brilliant. And I used to volunteer to transport the machinery from one spot to another, purely because it meant I got to do a bit more of that, which is more of a skilled job than just driving up and down the field. The bit where you're just driving up and down the field, honestly, there's not a great deal of skill involved for doing that. We all know that. But transporting it from one to the other, when you've got to be judging like really tight distances in between trees on really tight tracks, stuff like that, because your machine that you happen to be dragging around is larger than just about anything else, that's awesome fun. I used to love doing that. I really did. And I worked on a place for a while where there were like they used to employ several students, and I was a student as well, but most of the other students didn't have all that much experience with driving tractors. So if we had to do something like that, and there was a couple of people working, I would leave early. The manager or someone else in the estate would do a little bit of ferrying around, and I would drive the tractor through to the new field, and then I would do the outside round on the field and get that lined up. And if there was anything unusual in the field, because we had quite a lot of badgers on this farm, and badger sets you're not supposed to sort of interfere with, so you kind of like you had to do stuff around the badger sets. And if there was any particularly steep ground that had to be worked, that was always earmarked for me to do, because I had a fair bit of experience with working steep ground. So all of those bits, they would like be sort of cordoned off, and then I would be doing those later. I would do the first round around the outside of the field just to make sure that there were no issues anywhere. And then I would park up, and then I would be given a lift back to the last field, and I would take that tractor for the other person, and I would drive that one through as well, and get that one into the field and get them set up, and then I would hop back into my tractor and I'd be able to carry on with the more complicated bits. I used to love doing that. That was something that I genuinely loved. I thought that was brilliant, being able to do that. I got to do the more interesting bits. That's the bits that I liked doing. Not every tractor driver likes doing that. I know a lot of tractor drivers who like the big, long runs where it's just kind of tedious. And they thrive on that kind of driving. And they can just get into it and just kind of lose themselves in it, and away they go. Me, if I get into it too much, I just end up falling asleep, which is generally not a good idea when you're operating some big, heavy machinery. Getting sleepy at the wheel, usually frowned upon. Certainly it's frowned upon by the person you drive into at the other end. So I know that I get sleepy when I'm doing stuff like that, and I do all sorts to try and keep myself awake. But the main thing that I would do is I would specifically ask for any of the complicated work. If I could work steep ground, brilliant, because you got to be much more awake on the ball when you're doing really steep ground, because otherwise you end up in a big mangled heap at the bottom of the hill. You don't really want that. That's not a good thing. But I don't know what it would be like driving. I mean, imagine driving a cotton harvester It'd be more like driving a combine. It'd be more of an interesting task to go and do. There's more to sort of look at, more to concentrate on. However, I'm making a vast number of assumptions about it, and like I said, I know nothing whatsoever about the task, so please, comment section, tell me what I don't know, correct me, fill in my ignorance. Get rid of my ignorance, kill it completely, cure it. I'm begging you. I don't like being ignorant on anything, and I would very much like to have my ignorance cured on this. What is it like driving cotton harvesters? What's the whole experience like? I'm assuming that sliding down a hill like that is not something that you want to do. And we've just slid a couple of times here, but that's because the cotton... I would assume that you would be able to adjust the height of the heads on the cotton harvester as you're going along, so it's kind of not like the game where you end up getting bridged up over onto a little bit of the soil there, and it just kind of like makes you drift sideways like that. I'm going to make the assumption that this is not something that would normally happen in real life, but I'm also wondering if you would even be harvesting cotton along the top of a steep bank like this. I've seen combining done on banks like this. I've seen a lot of combining done on banks like this, and you're looking down much steeper banks than this. And if you did drift off the side, that would be the end of the combine, and most probably you as well. Time you finish rolling when you got to the bottom, it's not going to be pretty, whatever happened. Whatever is at the bottom, if you do manage to get out of it, you're not going to be looking as pretty as you were when you went off the top. That much I do know. Go right up to the end. We'll get those couple little bits over there as well. We'll just sort of tidy that bit up, and then we'll do another big long run back down through. It should be a lot easier to do our run back down through, though. Let's see that we're going to have any problems with that, because it's a little bit further away from the bank, so it's not going to sort of have that curved over effect. And we've also, as well as doing this, we also need to go and start picking up some of these cotton bales and getting them sold. How much are they selling for at the moment? I've been rabbiting on, yammering on for absolutely ages about all sorts, just while I've been sat here. 3,600 for cotton. I don't know if that's... What is a good price for cotton? Have I got that written down anywhere? I don't. Right, I don't know what a good price for cotton is at the moment. At the moment, it's 3,600. But the price is going up, so maybe we will stack the cotton modules somewhere. We'll use the proper thing for picking up the cotton modules to start with, the proper trailer, and we'll use that and we'll stack them beside the side of the road somewhere like that. And then when we've done that bit, then we'll go and right, let's just pick that one up like that. We'll get our auto load trailer and we'll use that one as well for moving the cotton modules, because that one's got a function on it for moving cotton modules. I don't know if it's I'd imagine it only stacks them up one module high. I can't imagine it's going to do any more than that, because that's a very, very high stack, really, isn't it? If you're going up more than one cotton bale. And it might do. And then also, maybe we could get a telehandler or something up here and see if we can pick them up well with that. Like, pick up the bale and stack them up on top. So we auto load the first layer on the trailer, and then we get a telehandler and we auto load. We don't auto load. We physically load up a second layer up on top of that. See how that works out. That could also be pretty cool, I think. I think that's going to be something that will work out all right. I'm loving this. Like, we've got a bale over there. I can see one there, two over there. So that makes three that I can see. Fourth one over that side. See bales everywhere here, which is awesome. I don't think that guy's got a bale on him at the moment. I'm just going to get to this bit over here. We're going to start... Well, once I get over to that top corner there. So we've done everything up here. I think we're not going to do this in one pass, though. We're going to have to go back up a third time. Like a third pass of hill. Although it's going to be a lot faster than this one. Down here, it's barely worth switching the machine off and on again in between each run. In between each little bit. But when we come back for the final pass... It'll be pretty quick, because we won't have, like, it's just little short blips of it. Should speed it up a bit. But what I do want to do is I'm just going to get to here. We'll just go up in front of that one there. And I want to go through and I want to have a look. So you're at 68%, and well, that cotton bale's down the other end, isn't it? You over here, you're at 54%. You've got one bale over there. You are 52%. You've got a bale right there next to us. You down here are 46. Where's your bale then? You must... Oh, he's all the way at the other end of the field. Right, he does have a bale up there. And you over here, you're 78%, you are. You're the one that's going to drop a bale first, I should think. 79. So that one's almost 80. So that one's going to do a second bale. I imagine most of them will get a second bale. Like a second full bale, that is. You're at 50% coming up here. And then that's the end of it. Right. 80% on that one right there. That's the highest one that we got, isn't it? 273. Yeah, that is the highest. Okay. That's what we're doing at the moment with our bales. Start up again. This one here, we've got 73% on our bale. And I am curious if we're actually going to reach a full bale ourselves just on doing the tidy up bits. I'd like to. I think it'd be great if we can, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. I got a feeling that thinking about it, I mean, what are we up to now? We're 1,500, so we're exactly 3/4 of the way through a bale. We might get one full bale ourselves. Because we've got a nice big lot right here we go through. And we're going to come back up through again and we're going to do one more pass. But I don't know what that's going to be like. And that's most of it then. There's going to be a little bit in the middle of Field 8, I would think, for cleaning up. But I don't think there's very much else that we've got in the way of actually cleaning up around the edges of the fields. I think we've kind of done that now, and we've gone in far enough that all of the machines should be cleaning everything themselves, sort of cleaning up behind themselves. At least that's what I'm assuming. We'll have a little bit here. We do have to do one more pass along this field. We know that much. I'm going to go and just grab that bit that we missed down the bottom. Make that a little bit easier. Go up through there like that, and then we'll spin down here. Back up. Yeah, that's the bit that's... Oh, no, I did get it. I was going to say, that's the bit that's a little bit more difficult to make sure that you get all of it, but we did get it. We got the whole lot. There, now I can spin up through there. One thing with the seasons is coming out. Last time, withering is definitely a thing that you can't turn on or off. I don't remember if crop destruction was optional in seasons or not. I mean, it's great when you've got the crop destruction going on it, and it is pretty cool, but when you're harvesting, when you set the hired help going with the harvesting, unfortunately, the hired help isn't very helpful when it comes to doing the harvesting. The hired help will stop and it'll put the spout out over the grain. So you've either got to physically move it yourself. You've got to jump into the combine, physically move it yourself, and then unload. Or you've got to drive on the crop to unload. I don't like that. I've never liked that sort of aspect of the crop destruction. And I did hear a rumour that the AI vehicle extension, my absolute favoritist mod in the whole world, is being done for FS19. It's being worked on at the moment. I heard this rumour, and this rumour made me very, very happy. I was a very happy bunny when I found out about this, that it is being worked on, and hopefully we will have the AI vehicle extension coming to FS19. Now, part of the rumour that I heard, and this because it's on GitHub at the moment, I believe. And I don't know. This could be completely wrong. There's all sorts of, you know what rumour mills are like. They tend to churn out all sorts of stuff, and not everything that the rumour mill produces is necessarily fact-based. But, sometimes it's wishful thinking, and sometimes it's actual fact. Really hoping that this one's actual fact. And another thing that was being talked about with this, I don't know if it was this or if it's actually something to do with courseplay, and that's when the harvester is full and the spout would be over the grain, it actually stops and reverses round and then puts the spout out. Now, I don't know if this is the AI vehicle... Oops. Need to do that. I don't know if this is a thing with AI vehicle extension, or if this is a thing with Courseplay. I can't remember now. I'm sure it's one or the other, and this idea where the machine backs round so that you can unload when it's hanging over the crop. If this is a thing, if this is actually a feature of either one, absolutely awesome. I mean, I don't really use Courseplay, and I have said that I will try and use a bit of Courseplay with the new series, and I will. But I mean, if AI vehicle extension comes out, then I'd rather use that, because I'm just not a fan of Courseplay. It's like it's such a big thing for setting up and recording courses and things like that. It just doesn't fit to me the style of this game. This is more of a hands-on. You're the you are the farmer, and yes, there is management aspects, but this is very much you're doing the farm work type game. Games like Farm Manager 2018. I mean, you remember Farm Manager? Not everybody watched that series. It was very differently done to this. It looked more like Factorio for farming. It was probably the best way that I could describe that, was Factorio for farming. I really like that game. There's a lot to it, that game. It's a lot more complex. Like, when you first take a look at it, you sort of think, well, actually, this is pretty basic. It's not. There is a lot to that game that is really quite complex, and there's some very cool features for it. And that one, like, sort of a cross between that and Farming Simulator, where you're much more focused on farm management rather than doing the actual day-to-day farming tasks. That, I feel that something like Courseplay would fit that a lot better, and like you'd sort of expect that kind of thing built into the game. But with this one, for me, Courseplay, it just doesn't feel right playing the game. Like, when I'm getting into it, it just doesn't quite feel right. I'm going to run this one on up round a minute and see if I can find any more bits that we need to tidy up. And also, we can keep an eye on that bad boy down there and make sure he does turn. He's left a single plant with cotton still on it, but at least he's turning around and doing his job properly. I'm going to do a single pass along this bit right here, because there's a couple bits that it is going to miss because of the trees across the road. So if we run through here and tidy this little bit up, that harvester there is going to go right up to the top corner of the field, and then it's going to stop. It won't do the rest. But that's fine. We can actually leave that, because this one here, you'll soon gather up the rest of that. And then this field over this side will be completely finished. That will all be done. So I'll get that little bit there. And then I'll come along here and I'll get this little bit as well. Like that. And then I will go all the way up through here and I'll get the rest of... There's a couple of little bits just there on the far end. So what are you... It's not actually stopping. It's going to reverse all the way down, and he's going to carry on doing his stuff in the field. Whilst that's admirable, and it's wonderful, and I do question why you're doing that, but you couldn't cope with doing some of the other things that you've been asked to do. Yeah, many questions it does bring up, but that's fine. I'm going to stop you now at 78%, and we're going to unload this other bale right there. Just press Y, and that will unload a part bale. I'm going to bring that one over here. I know I shouldn't be driving, and especially shouldn't be turning with that one stuck out the back like that. But I'm going to bring that over to there, and then I'm going to drop it down here. Right. Fold you back up. Like that. Actually, I'm folding it up, and it's still got... it's still got the bit out the back. And look, you drive round, and it's actually throwing... Like, that flap is actually just hanging loose and swinging in the wind. I didn't expect that. And now it's sort of secured it. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, let's just stop you right there. Let's go and compare these. One of these is a half a bale, and the other one's a full bale, but they're both identical. Right, they are both identical bales. Right there. A little bit strange. Alright, let's go through... Oops, all the cotton harvesters here. I'll go back to mine. 86% we're on. We will be able to get a full bale of cotton before we've actually finished. I'm going to go down here now. I'm going to run along that little slice there. We're almost done. We're very nearly almost done. I'm also very much aware that we're very nearly almost out of time before Seasons is launched, and we're going to be wanting to move on to doing some Seasons stuff instead of doing stuff over here. And that's a different ball game, really. I want to finish this harvest. We've got all of these harvesters running up and down the field. I could go and move the one that has just stopped now. I could bring that one over. I could do some work with that. I'm not going to. I'm just going to, like, bring this one round, and I'm going to plonk this one. I'm going to run this one along this bottom edge here. Like this. I'm going to run it along the bottom edge of the next bit as well. So just one little bit long here. That's all. I've got that wide strip there. One harvester there is taking care of that. Oh, there's another bale being emptied out right now as we speak. We got one more emptying out there. I'm going to run along here. I'm going to do another little strip just along this bit, and then we'll go over into field 8, and we'll see how those two are doing over there. So get that bit. I'm going to assume that the other harvester on field 8 will have already emptied out its bale. It will have already gone and done that bit. And it actually looks like field 8 is mostly done. I've just about finished that. We've got this long strip here. That one's going to take a while. There's another bale over there that one of the other harvesters just opened out. You've got it. Yep, he's got another bale at the top end, so that one's done it twice. But there's this bit along here. I want to just do a strip along there because of traffic, and there's like a couple of little bits right at the far end that one of them has missed. So you go and do that. There, do your spin round. And then I can go up through here. And I can just shave off the bottom end. We can run up through and we can grab the other bit. You go up there. Keep going. You're doing a grand job. We've actually got quite a bit left in the middle of field 8 here. Still to go with the two harvesters working. So once I've done this bit across here, I might go and like start working up through the middle here. If we could put another harvester in here somewhere. Going by the way that it went over in the other field. All the way up over there. I want to sort of put it 2/3 of the way along over that side, because then it will start automatically working back towards that way. At least if it turns the same direction as the other one did. Not quite sure if it will or it won't. But are we going to manually be able to do this ourselves, like without using... I haven't used the hired help at all on this harvester yet. Not done anything with hired help at all. None. Not even a tiny little bit. So if I can, like, another 1,500 litres, that will make our full bale. That's like one little tiny thing accomplished, I feel. It's not a huge accomplishment, admittedly, but it is a thing. It is a thing that we will have done. It's like a little thing that we can say we've got under our belt. So we go racing back this way. And we'll be able to get our very own cotton bale. How much should I get just from one pass along this bottom end? I could probably just do a little bit of work backwards and forwards on here until I've got the full bale. And then I leave the hired help to be working. That one up there, he's just about done now. One more spin around and that one will be completely finished. And you up here. Yeah, I've only got, so far it's about 300 litres. And it should be, well, 400 or 500 litres before I reach the end of this bit. But I can just keep going backwards and forwards on this end here. And it's not going to interfere with their ability to keep harvesting this field. They will just be able to keep working right through that. So that's 600 litres. That's not bad. That's almost 700 litres doing that bit. So I'll bring that out and I'll whiz it round. We'll go back through again. We'll get another 700 litres and then that's going to be our full... I won't leave the bale, obviously, at the end of the field here. That's going to be right in the way of... Well, there we go, folks. I'm afraid that's it. We've run out of time, which means that we need to head on home. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please hit down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.